Ever since I was old enough to understand the concept of racing, I really wanted to make it big.
I think for throwing him into the fire, short notice, no testing, he's done very well. Very impressed with him.
Must have spun out or went off track.
No form of motorsports racing is rooted as deeply in American popular culture as NASCAR. Today, it's by far the most popular form of auto racing in the USA. Each summer, millions of rabid stock car fans flock to events across North America to watch their heroes race at speeds of more than 260 kilometers per hour in NASCAR's premier championship, the Sprint Cup Series. At larger tracks such as Daytona International Speedway, a Sprint Cup race can draw crowds in excess of 160,000. To keep fans on the edge of their seats, NASCAR fills their track with a seemingly endless supply of highly skilled drivers and teams. This deep talent pool is filled by several smaller series, where up-and-coming drivers and teams cut their teeth and hone their skills.
Like most stick and ball or hockey leagues, if you will, NASCAR has a structure and a system. You start at the grassroots level, and there you go cut your skills. You see if you've got what it takes, so it really is based on the talent. That's what the top tier teams in NASCAR are looking for. They're looking to spot that raw talent out there, that next pitcher, that next goalie, that next talent.
In Canada, the NASCAR Canadian Tire Series is the place for aspiring Canadian racers and teams to strut their stuff in preparation for a shot at the bigs.
Well, the NASCAR Canadian Tire Series is the only national series in Canada. We run coast to coast. Our furthest race west is Vernon, BC, and we go to Antigonish, Nova Scotia. We run 13 events across the country.
It is the top series in Canada. It's a place for Canadians and, for that matter, Europeans. We've had Australians, and we have a young man, Joey from Holland. He races here, so it's attracting. It is high on the radar, if you will, of the NASCAR world.
Picton, Ontario is not high on the radar in the NASCAR world. Its population can fill the 168,000 seats in Daytona Speedway 40 times over. But that's never stopped this small-town boy from dreaming of the big time. Malcolm Stron has spent his entire 25 years in Picton, most of it trying to drive as fast as he can. A room filled with trophies shows just how serious he is about the sport. Malcolm's success was fueled by the passion of his parents, owners of a small photo business on Picton's Main Street.
Picton was a decent place to grow up. This is where it all began for me, where I dreamed of being a big-time racing driver and having all the money and the fame and all that kind of fun stuff. Everything from my father putting together a pedal car, taking out the pedals, putting in a belly pan for it so that I could go flying down paved hills and go sliding around on the plastic tires. It was a lot of fun.
Hey, that's good. Hey, yeah, you bet.
This is really a hockey town. Motor racing is definitely not what people think about when they come to the county, but through the influence of, I think, of my father, growing up a lot of weekends at racing circuits and that sort of thing, I definitely had dreams of going fast on four wheels rather than skates or kicking a ball around. Ever since I was old enough to understand the concept of racing, I wanted to be behind the wheel. I wanted to get up into the big time, whether it was NASCAR, whether it was Formula One, whether it was Le Mans, anything like that. I really wanted to make it big.
His first karting race I ever watched him in, I mean, he started mid-grid, and I mean, this sea of little cars take off, and you just kind of go, oh, my child's in the middle of all of that. And suddenly he miraculously appeared at the front by the first corner at Shannonville. And I thought, okay, stay there because I don't want you in that mass in the middle. and he seemed to always do that. Right from the very first race, I knew he had it in him. He had that analytical brain, and he could analyze setups and situations, tell his father, and his father would make the cart to what they ended up having was a winning combination. David, of course, Malcolm's father, has done extensive racing through his career, so I think it was all just inevitable that he would be where he is today.
There are a lot of memories in this garage. We've spent so many hours out here. It's unheated, and sometimes those hours were very uncomfortable, so it was sweat like blazes in the summertime and freeze our fingers off in the winter. But I wouldn't trade it for anything.
We've learned how to do a lot with very little, primarily because I guess I really couldn't afford to pay somebody else to do it. It actually always did my heart good because we'd go out and race against $250,000 twin-turbo Porsches and Ferraris, and our home-built Corvette with used tires and pump gas would invariably beat them. And I put most of that down to Malcolm's driving talent more than the perhaps the car preparation. But at any rate, the trophies came home with us, and that's what counted. So proud father, no question about that.
Every time I turned a wrench on the car, it was always a thought of how can I get up to the big time, and I quickly came to the realization that a lot of it is money, and if you've got to either come from money or you've got to be well connected with good sponsors to be able to make it in this business.
Hey buddy, how's it going? Good.
In professional racing, no sponsor means virtually no chance. But just before Stron parked his racing career for good, television network Rush HD has thrown him a lifeline.
I was pretty much running out of hope in terms of making it as a professional racing driver. I really didn't know what was going to happen, and came across Rush HD and thought, well, here's an opportunity that might exist. So got in touch with a few people and managed to show them what I'm all about. We put together a really good deal, and I'm really excited to be running the Rush HD Dodge in Montreal.
Rush HD has offered to give Stron one shot at his dream. They are sponsoring his entry into this year's NASCAR Canadian Tire Series race at Montreal's legendary Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. This is a massively popular Canadian stock car event that shares the bill with a NASCAR Nationwide Series round. It's a chance to impress some of the NASCAR bigwigs. Best of all, it's a road course, which is Stron's specialty.
I'm really pleased with the fact that there are going to be a number of really big NASCAR teams there, and I just hope that somebody takes the time to watch the Canadian Tire Series race and takes notice of him, because I'm sure he'll put on a pretty good show.
I really think this is my biggest shot at making it the big time. If I can impress the right people and influence the right people, maybe I could get a shot at being a road course ringer for some team in the Nationwide Series. They only run 2 road races a year, so they need a pro driver in there to get the job done, and hopefully I can convince them that I can be that pro driver. This will definitely be the biggest race I've been in, and I'm really looking forward to basically show what I'm made of and show that I can hustle a car around a track as well as look good on camera for the sponsors, so we'll have to see how it goes.
In just 2 days, race car driver Malcolm Stron gets one shot at a dream. He will be competing in a NASCAR Canadian Tire Series race at Montreal's Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. This NASCAR-sanctioned event will lead into a bigger race, a Canadian stop in the Nationwide Series, and 70,000 stock car fans are expected to attend. For this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, Stron will be competing in the Rush HD Dodge, owned by Jim Bray Racing. Jim Bray is a NASCAR veteran with more than 40 years under his belt. He's one of the few Canadians to have ever actually raced with NASCAR in the prestigious Daytona 500.
I ran in 2 Daytona 500s, 64 and 65, and
And I know a lot of great people. He let me. Richard Petty's a personal friend, and I was at his first race and his last race. What I know about Malcolm's driving ability is from what I hear from other people, and I heard good things about him. To me, it's as important how a guy conducts himself off the racetrack. You know, I mean, you might say there are lots of drivers around, but sometimes there's not lots of good people you want in one of your cars. So we're a little fussy.
With Team Bray's hauler set up in the paddock, Stron heads off to park his car. He's a long way from the red carpet. In fact, he's a long way from everything.
It's about 1:45, way out in P3 parking. Any further, we'd be in the water. We're about a 10-minute walk away from the pits, which is another 2 kilometers away from start-finish line. So a lot of walking around. My father actually raced here back in 1986. Pretty impressive stuff.
The team's trucks are parked in the makeshift pits, and the rolling technical inspection area is set to go. But no one's allowed to pull their cars out and get to work until NASCAR gives the green light. Every race team will be given precisely the same amount of time to prepare their entry for NASCAR's very strict rolling technical inspection.
Yeah, it's pretty cool to see when all the gates go down, the cars start coming out, pit carts are rolling out, guys get working on stuff. They're all excited to get going here, and as you can see behind me, there's lots of work going on here today.
Car looks good. I like it up close. Can't wait to get out in it though, that's for sure. Yeah, the car is quite a bit different from the Corvette that I used to race. Big carbureted V8, a bit more power, should be a closer ratio gearbox. But drove a late model stock car on an oval for a total of about 20 minutes once, so hopefully that'll give me a bit of experience of a similar type of machine. I definitely want to get in, even just feel out the gearbox, see how it feels, see what I need to do to get used to it, especially for qualifying, so that I can turn in a quick lap. But yeah, it should be fun. I'm looking forward to tomorrow.
Before the Rush HD Dodge can take part in tomorrow's practice, it must first pass NASCAR's technical inspection. Luckily, this pit crew doesn't have much to worry about. The number 49 car was built from the ground up by Jim Bray's crew chief, John Fletcher, a talented fabricator who has built upwards of 50 stock cars during the course of his career.
Inside and out, we built the car from scratch in 2003. Jim Bray bought it 2 years ago, I think. So we had this opportunity this weekend with Malcolm, and I told Jim, go for it, you know, it'd be fun. They're about 125,000 turnkey. There's a lot of work in them. There's a lot cheaper race cars out there, but they don't have the man hours in them, more production line stuff. It's an oddball car, and it's much like a Cup car was 15 years ago, or a Busch car. They're a great car, they're just their own beast. You can't take them anywhere else, so that they're unique to what they're doing. There you go.
Okay, that's mine. You can have that back because I'm happy. You're good to go. Okay, thanks.
Malcolm, this is where you're earning your stripes.
Oh, yeah?
The Rush HD Dodge passes technical inspection without a hitch. Now, as per NASCAR rules, inspection officials put a strip of what's known as rookie tape on the car's rear bumper. This simple yellow tape lets the other drivers know that the number 49 entry has a rookie on board. Just a few hours later, Team Bray runs into an unexpected snag during a mandatory safety gear inspection.
Those are counterfeit.
Really?
Yes. They're supposed to be magnetic. If they're real Hans, they're supposed to be magnetic steel.
So what can I do about that?
You can get them changed here.
Yeah?
Okay. You have to go down to the Nationwide garage to get it done though.
Okay. a little unsettling. The Hans device basically goes underneath the your shoulder belts and then goes up behind the helmet. And then there are 2 tethers that attach to the helmet. So in an accident, basically your head can't extend too far forward. It's a bit unnerving that the past couple of years I've been racing with counterfeit safety pieces. I got to get them changed before I'm allowed on the track.
Luckily, Malcolm's counterfeit Hans device will be repaired in time for tomorrow's practice run. Relieved, Stron takes a moment to stroll through the Nationwide Series paddock to catch a rare glimpse of life in the fast lane.
It's funny because you get into something like the NASCAR Canadian Tire Series, and it's a big deal, and then you just walk down a pathway a little bit, and all of a sudden you're next to the bigger guys, and then it's like, oh well, it's another step up. There's a little bit of the kid in a candy store type of feeling, but at the same time, it's kind of like the kid in the candy store that doesn't have any change in his pockets, and hopefully I can talk to a team or two, or at least have a few people watching the NASCAR Canadian Tire Series race, and if they can see how well I do, then they might be willing to pick me up for a road course race or two. The forecast is for rain tomorrow. If there is rain, it might play into my hands. I tend to go well in the rain. I've had some good results in the rain, and I absolutely love racing in the rain. So if there is some inclement weather, then I think I have a better chance of finishing higher up in the order. When I was very, very young, I had a lot of experience in the rain. It's definitely not normal for racers to enjoy racing in the rain, but then there are the few oddballs like me that absolutely love it, so let's see how it goes.
Today, the competitors in the NASCAR Canadian Tire Series will get their first and only official practice session. It will be their first look at the Montreal street circuit. For Malcolm Stron, it is also his first and only chance to drive the Rush HD Dodge before qualifying. And to raise the stakes even higher, for the first time in his racing career, getting noticed by NASCAR is a real possibility.
That's not only possible, but it's happening today. It's been happening since the inception of the NASCAR Canadian Tire Series. Probably the first one was Pete Shepard. He got recognized by Jack Roush, got a ride in the truck series, and you know, we've got guys like Andrew Ranger that compete down there, and DJ Kennington is very well respected already and recognized in that garage area. So many of them have crossed over from this end to that end and are recognized.
With his Hans device now up to spec, Stron is geared up and ready to roll. But his pit crew still have some last-minute adjustments to make.
You can be here for a week, and in the last minute there's a bunch of stuff to do. My friend, one time she said, "Is the car ready?" I said, "The car's never ready." She said, "What do you mean?" I said, "Well, it doesn't matter how much time you have, there's always something to do right in the last few minutes."
I got here around 6. There's been a lot of stuff going on right now. They think the battery's just a little bit low, so they're just charging it a little bit. Yeah, I'm really happy to see the rain this morning. Should be a bit of an advantage. It would be nice to get a bit of dry time in the car just so I can get a feel for the balance of it and everything. I've driven similar cars before, so this one in the rain, I don't know, I should be able to figure it out. Fingers crossed anyway.
A triple disc clutch, right?
Yeah, you push it as much as you need and that's it.
Right. So when I'm starting, like when I'm going,
once you get it rolling, just let it out.
Let it out. Yeah. So like I don't want to slip the clutch.
No, don't drag it. Just get rolling, let it off.
Let it out.
And only push it as much as you need.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. We don't have to coach him on his driving. We know he can drive. We have to coach him on this car. These are a different animal from everything else. So just try to keep him out of trouble till tomorrow. And we'll turn them loose.
While waiting in the hot pits for his practice session to begin, Stron's pit crew hits a speed bump.
They want you up there, I think.
What'd they say? We got to fix the light, Jim.
Huh?
Got to fix the light. It's not on, they don't go on the racetrack.
I've been trying to say.
According to NASCAR rules, during rain conditions, cars must be equipped with brake lights. Unfortunately, the plug required to activate Stron's brake lights is back in the team's hauler, parked in the paddock 1 mile away.
For the wet, you're supposed to have it on a switch. Well, we hardly ever run in the wet, so it's got a plug that's all hooked up, but the plug's in the other trailer. Typical motorsports.
If Stron's brake lights aren't working within the next few minutes, he'll be barred from entering the track. Losing his one and only chance to get used to the car before the qualifying session would be devastating. Crew member Sean McGlynn pleads with the officials for permission to run without the lights.
We have to have a brake light? We have to have a brake light?
49 has trouble with their brake light. Are they required to have it for practice? Forward, thank you. Don't need it, just roll out. All right.
At the last minute, NASCAR officials ruled that the number 49 can run, and the Rush HD Dodge is allowed to enter the track. This practice session is crucial. These are extremely difficult cars to drive, and Circuit Gilles Villeneuve is unforgiving. For Stron, this will be a fast and steep learning curve. This is also a crucial session for the number 49 pit crew. They will be monitoring the car's performance from pit lane. Vital information gathered here will be used to tweak the car's setup before this afternoon's qualifying session. After one warm-up lap, the practice goes green. Mother Nature has decided to keep the weather conditions for this practice session less than ideal. Most drivers hate running in the wet, but rookie Stron loves nothing more than racing in the rain. It doesn't take long for the wet conditions to take their toll. Near the completion of lap 1, the 41 car spins out, and Stron squeezes by, narrowly missing a collision that could have ended his weekend early. On his second lap, Stron's wet weather skills shine through as he makes an impressive pass.
The skills needed are to be gentle with everything, to be really smooth, to have a good feel for what the car is doing. You also need to experiment a lot to find where there's grip on the track. You don't want to stay on the dry racing line because that's where all the rubber is. It's grippy in the dry, but it's really, really slippery in the wet. So you actually want to go offline around the outsides of corners to try to get grip where the asphalt is basically untouched.
5 minutes into the session, Stron is 11th fastest. Suddenly, he starts to struggle with the number 49's adjustable braking bias system. Within seconds, he loses control and is forced to pull off onto an escape road.
He was driving a high-performance Corvette before, so I told him, don't be disappointed if you're 25th or something. These cars are difficult to drive. They're different. They're heavy. They don't have as much brake as a lot of cars. They have less tire. They're heavier and restricted engine a little bit.
The rookie makes a quick adjustment to the braking system, gathers his composure, and pulls back onto the racetrack.
Oh, he's doing all right. He said that he had a wheel hop issue at the end of one of the straightaways and had to take a runoff route just to avoid, spinning, but he's doing okay. It's good. Didn't hit anything yet, that's good.
With only 9 laps under his belt, Stron kicks things into high gear. He powers through some technical turns and increases his average lap speed to an amazing 8th fastest in the session.
Malcolm, everything's going good. Your lap times are good, so finish this lap and then bring it in.
Stron has finished the practice session with a best lap speed of 74.393 miles per hour. That's 12th fastest out of a field of 34 cars. A very impressive debut. The NASCAR rookie lapped faster than some of the top competitors in the series, like Andrew Ranger and DJ Kennington. Now the number 49 pit crew has just a few hours to fine-tune the Rush HD car for the qualifying session.
I'm happy with the result. For first time in the car, first time in the wet in this car, first time on the track. I don't know, no complaints here. I think that worked out pretty well.
And you were comfortable in the car?
Yeah, the car seemed to be fine.
Like you felt okay? You didn't feel like you were overdriving it or anything?
No. It took me a little while to realize that the brake bias was a little bit too much to the rear, and it hopped the rear under the.
I ask you about
and,
that. I about brake bias.
But yeah, the car seemed to be working well.
As long as you felt comfortable in it, that's the important thing.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But I think if we make a few more changes, I don't know what the weather's going to do, but if we can make the rear end just a little softer for on throttle coming out of corners, then.
John's the guy to deal with.
Yeah, I've been talking to both John and Sean.
John and Sean. They're great. They're both good chassis men.
Yeah.
And races are won with chassis.
Yeah.
Horsepower.
Yeah, exactly. I think there's still more in the car. Obviously, I've got probably about 20 minutes in the car, so I'm far from an expert, but just based on what it feels like compared to the other, like one of the quicker guys, I think softening up the rear somehow would help get a bit more rear grip.
As the pit crews prepare for the qualifying session, the power tools aren't the only things creating a buzz in the paddock. Stron's surprising 12th place finish has turned some heads.
Kid did great. I mean, 12th place. I believe he finished 12th in the practice session. Just outside of the top 10, there's some big names definitely that were behind him, so I'm sure he's pretty excited. Great start on wet conditions, so he certainly can handle the car in the wet, that's for sure.
Right now, no tires, no fuel.
No one knows what Mother Nature has in store for today's qualifying session. Right now, NASCAR officials are ruling that the competitors must start with a dry setup. But this could change at any time leading up to the start.
There's lots of questions from a lot of teams trying to figure out what they need to do next. Their setups in their cars are different from dry to wet, so they're looking for a little more than just changing tires. So we're trying to work with them. We need a good show. We need to make sure they're safe, so we'll try and work with them the best we can to make all the adjustments and accommodate their needs as we go along here. So there's just many questions about what we're going to do next, and Mother Nature keeps changing on us here. One minute we're looking for jackets, and next minute we're nice and dry and warm. So we'll just take it one step at a time here.
While the Rush HD Dodge goes through the pre-qualifying technical inspection, Stron mentally prepares in the team's trailer.
I'm just focused on the job at hand and just thinking about what I have to do as a driver. Not really thinking about, wow, I'm so lucky, wow, all of this kind of stuff. Like, I am lucky. That feeling usually comes after, but or leading up to the race. But when I'm lacing up, I'm focusing on everything I've got to do and just thinking about that sort of thing. I am definitely very happy that I've got this opportunity, but at the same time, I've got to make the most of it. So I've got to focus and make sure that I do all the right stuff at the right time. I think I might have a decent chance if it stays dry, but if it's wet, I think I'd have a much better chance of doing well. So I'm praying for rain. If it rains, I think we'll be looking a little bit better in the 49 car.
The Rush HD Dodge passes inspection and is moved to the hot pits for the 4-lap qualifier. The fastest lap time for each driver will determine the starting grid positions for tomorrow's final. For Stron, a good qualifying time will improve his chances of success on race day. This time on the track, Stron won't be able to rely on his wet weather skills. But rain or not, his dream of making it big in NASCAR really starts right here. After the warm-up laps, the qualifier goes green. Stron gets through his first 2 laps without a hitch and starts the 3rd lap running hard.
He just spun. I don't know if he got going or not.
Good, eh?
Did you get going?
No, the battery's dead.
Did the battery? It won't start. He's off down there. It won't start.
And you just quit on him?
No, he spun out.
Oh, and then it wouldn't start. Okay.
Stron miscalculated his braking speed heading into the chicane and lost control of the number 49 Dodge. The spin out caused the number 49 to stall, and without a fully charged battery, Stron can't get the engine to restart. His best qualifying time will have to be taken from his first 2 laps. Now Stron and the rest of the crew must wait for the official results from the qualifying session.
So what are you thinking?
Well, I was overdriving the brakes too much. I was trying to learn the track in the dry, learn the car, how it felt in the dry, and try to pull off a fast lap all at once. And I just outbraked myself a couple times. I don't know. I'm not pleased with myself. I know I could have done better. I was actually on a fast lap, and I probably would have knocked off like half a second because I was making big gains out there. Just every corner I went through, I was like, okay, I can do this now. Okay, I can find out this. I can get that 2/10 in this corner, 2/10 in that corner. Like I am way off my. I don't know. I'm way off my own pace in that session. So.
We have more patience for your driving than you do, so that's okay. Don't worry about it.
Fair enough.
While the pit crew works on the number 49 entry, the timing printout reveals that Stron is qualified 19th fastest in a field of 34.
19th, that's not too bad. I'm not too disappointed with that, but the time difference is so huge. But I know I've got a lot left in me, and there may be a little in the car, but I don't know.
I'm very impressed with the 49 car. The thing I liked about him, he said, now, I did this, and I did that, and I did whatever wrong, and so he knows. He's very intelligent and very perceptive of what he's doing, so he did very, very well. He's not satisfied, I know, but everybody else is. Now, when I say everybody else, I mean people in NASCAR, other crew, other teams, they're very pleased with what he's done, even though he's not satisfied. Maybe that's why he's as good as he is, because he's not satisfied.
For both NASCAR officials and the teams, staging around in the NASCAR Canadian Tire Series and the Nationwide Series in front of 70,000 fans takes a pile of planning and preparation. But this morning, much of the talk in the paddock is about the performance of first-time rookie competitor Malcolm Stron. His results in both the practice and the qualifier have been noticed.
He's already caught the attention. Almost an unknown, if you will, but I mean, to step in these cars, which are very difficult to drive, takes a lot of skill, and the circuit is very demanding as well. And to do as well as he has already, he's already caught the attention of quite a few people. So your talent really shines. You can come to this series and be recognized for your talent and not just a suitcase full of money.
I think for throwing him into the fire, short notice, no testing, in the rain, first out, he's done very well. Very impressed with him. The dry's a little bit different. That's where he'll have to work at getting a little bit of speed out of the car, but he's done very well.
The 7 a.m. horn sounds, and the crews get to work. Each team has about 2 hours to make any final adjustments or repairs before the final technical inspection. But over in the Rush HD pit, the crew member with the keys to the team's trailer is missing in action.
You should get keys for this time. Second set.
You should get a hammer.
Third set. There you go. Have a good day, Johnny.
After 25 minutes of waiting for the keys, crew chief John Fletcher takes matters into his own hands and cuts the locks. The pit crew now has less than 90 minutes before final inspection. This is not a good start to the day. The rushed preparation could affect Stron's performance.
It was just a schedule change. Initially, the pit was opening up at 8, but they changed it to 7. There was some confusion whether it was 7 or 8, and we didn't guess right.
It's about 8 o'clock. The garage opened at 7, but I didn't really need to be here quite that early. It's basically just getting the car ready for tech inspection, and last thing they need is a driver poking their nose in everywhere to try to see what's going on. So the Weather Channel said it's supposed to start raining around 11 o'clock, and our race is at 11:45. So my fingers are crossed for the rain, because I think that'll help me out quite a bit.
He's got a good motor, good setup. He's happy with the car. We tightened him up a little bit for today. I think he'll do fine. I'd be happy with a top 15, and 23 laps would be a great. It's a tough race. I'm not sure he knows how tough a race it's going to be for him, but we'll see what he looks like at the end.
A little bit anxious about getting the race underway and trying to improve upon my lap times in qualifying and work my way up if possible. Big thing is attrition in these races. A lot of guys go 110% from the drop of the green flag all the way to the finish, so there might be some broken gearboxes out there, broken clutches, bent cars, stuff like that. So I'm going to try my best to keep the nose of this thing clean and just stay on the track. A few people have told me some drivers to watch out for and that sort of thing, so I'm going to try to keep that in mind as well. And yeah, I'll just try my best to keep smooth, consistent, and be there at the end. The show's pretty impressive. I'm looking forward to getting out there. It should be a lot of fun. This will be the first time I'm actually even racing on TV, so that's kind of fun too. But yeah, most of all, I just can't wait to get out there and get down to the actual business of racing.
Partant 19e de Toronto en Ontario sur la Dodge Rush HD Lucas Oil, le numéro 49, Malcolm Stron.
This is definitely the biggest race I've been in. Done a lot of road racing, but nothing compares to crowds like this and series like this. There are a lot of good drivers out there, so it's going to be an uphill battle, but I think I know where I can make some big gains on the track, and I think that hopefully I can work my way up through the field a bit and be smooth the gear shift so I don't mess up the gearbox or anything like that. I think a few people are going to have issues with that. See a few guys wheel hopping, and when you wheel hop you break stuff, so if I can be smooth with everything and make it to the finish and conserve the brakes, it should be good.
We're going to do start your engines in about 3 minutes, okay? 2 minutes. 2 minutes!
Makes me excited. All the cameras around, the fans, like it's great to see everything. It definitely gets me excited, but in terms of getting nervous, I think it's just the the cars around me that give me the only sort of uneasy feeling. I've never raced with these guys. I'm going into the first corner, I'm not sure what to expect. I don't know if I'm going to be hit from behind. I don't know if anyone's going to even touch me. It's a really big unknown at this point. So I'll probably be a little conservative into the first corner and then start pushing harder and harder from there. It's the last thing I want to do is end up in somebody's rear bumper or have something go wrong there. So yeah, you don't win the race in the first lap.
The first 2 laps are driven under a waved yellow caution. This gives the drivers time to warm up their tires and to preview the track's condition. Stron's hope for a wet race have dried up as the sun beats down on the racing surface. The race goes green. Right out of the gate, Stron gives up his 19th place starting position, and now the fight begins. Still on lap 1, Stron regains 19th place by aggressively making a pass on the inside corner of the chicane. On lap 4, Malcolm snatches another position and closes in on 17th. On lap 5, another competitor spins out in front of Stron, forcing him to cut through the infield. This off-track excursion has cost Stron 4 positions. He is now in 22nd place on lap 5 and must push even harder to regain ground. Stron barrels into the chicane and fights his way back up to 19th. On lap 8, Stron and the number 49 Rush HD Dodge grab 18th place. While dicing for 17th place, Stron hit the brakes a split second too late and lost control of the number 49. Almost the entire field races by. Now he must drive as hard as he can to catch up to the pack.
Must have spun out or went off track. Looks like he's okay. I didn't see any body damage, so maybe somebody spun him.
Now on lap 11, Stron loses sight of the field as he tries to regain ground.
I'm done, guys. I'm sorry. Coming into the corner, I broke the drive shaft or something.
Looks like Malcolm had to pull off track. Something happened. I don't know if it's engine or what it is. So we're done for the day.
Malcolm radioed in that there was he said a bad sound, a vibration or something in the drive line, so he coasted into the hairpin runoff, and he spun out once, and sometimes a strain like that will put something on the drive line, or who knows. But anyhow, something in the drive shaft, universal joint, something in the drive line, he said, went on it. So unfortunately, it's a DNF.
Yeah, it broke. I broke it. I'm not sure which, but yeah, just disappointment. Big chance and snap of a piece of metal and it's all gone.
Even though he DNF'd or did not finish the race, Stron officially records a 28th place finish in the field of 34 entries. This NASCAR rookie is not happy with that result, but his team has a more positive view of his efforts.
I think he did great. There's a lot of talented drivers out there in this class, and he did a good job. We're proud of him. I mean, when you're running competitive, qualified well, running the race well, if the car wouldn't have let us down, we could have had a top 10 finish, I think, so it would have been a great weekend.
Pissed off. Malcolm did very well. Sorry the car broke, but broke an upper link, and it happens. 4 or 5 of them broke today, so it's not like it's uncommon. I think he was surprised at how hard they run. From practice, qualifying to the pay and race, everything picks up a little bit, but he did awesome. Did good feedback, did a good job.
Yeah, everyone was driving close. I think there's marks all the way around the car except on the nose. I didn't hit anyone, but everyone else seemed to be hitting me. A lot of close quarters fighting. It was definitely the most fierce battle that I've ever had because you've always got a car behind you, always got a car in front of you. You're trying to pass the guy in front of you without screwing up your line and letting the guy behind you ahead.
Well, you know the expression, it wasn't especially good, but it can be a heck of a lot worse. The best part of it was Malcolm. Of course, he's an old go-kart racer, and it shows up. Go-kart racers show up there immediately. They're smooth and pretty intelligent. But Malcolm did a great job, I thought. And the crew thinks the same way, and so does NASCAR and the other drivers. I just hope we can find some funding to run them again, because we're very satisfied with them. Certainly have them back for a season if we could get a deal. Yep, not a problem.
I'd love to hop back in this car again at some point if I could get the budget to do so. It'd be another good experience. The car seems strong. I think it's got a good amount of power. I think that I'd be able to at least get a little higher up.
So we got Rush HD at home, so we're getting a photo of the car with my boys.
I still think I can be a road race ringer. I think it'll just take a little bit more testing time, a little bit more preparation, and I think if I'm in the right equipment and the right opportunity comes, I think I can get the job done. And I'm just really hoping that something like this situation, maybe I can make it happen in the next couple of years. Fingers crossed.